My child, I need you to hear me now. Not just with your ears, but with your whole heart. You've walked through seasons where your value was invisible to the very people you tried to honor. You've carried weight in rooms that never acknowledged your presence. You've offered wisdom in places that only received it once, someone else repeated it. You've served with loyalty, watched others be celebrated while you were overlooked, and quietly wondered, do they even see who I really am? I did. I always have. Before they dismissed you, before they questioned you, before they assumed they understood you, I saw everything. I saw the way you kept showing up when you were tired. I saw the way you softened your words so you wouldn't be misunderstood. I saw the way you carried your convictions with grace, even when others mocked or ignored them. I saw the way you navigated the weight of knowing who you were becoming while waiting for someone, anyone, to see it too. But here's what I need you to understand. Their ability to recognize your value never determined whether you had any. Their inability to see your calling did not delay your assignment. Their silence was not a verdict. Their rejection was not a ruling. Their distance was not my voice. I never required their approval to move in your life. I never needed their validation to mark your name in heaven. You were already chosen, already anointed, already being prepared for what's next. I watched as you fought the urge to prove yourself. As you held your tongue when you could have defended your motives. As you chose peace over performance. As you stayed obedient when promotion didn't come. I saw the nights when your confidence cracked under the pressure of pretending it didn't hurt. And even in those moments, especially in those moments, I never lost sight of who you are. Not for a second. You've walked through seasons where it felt like no one truly knew you, where your insight was brushed off, your discernment dismissed, your purpose misunderstood. You started to wonder if maybe you were wrong, if maybe the dream was just emotion, if maybe your voice didn't matter as much as you thought. You adjusted. You adapted. You made yourself smaller to survive the tension. But I never asked you to shrink. I never asked you to become less. I asked you to trust me when others couldn't see what I put in you. Let me tell you now that hiddenness wasn't punishment. It was preservation. You weren't being ignored. You were being protected. There were people who would have used your gift before it matured. Platforms that would have drained your soul before you had the roots to stand firm. Opportunities that would have elevated your voice but crushed your spirit. So, I kept you quiet for a while. I didn't expose you. I covered you. And while they weren't seeing you, I was shaping you. And now, I'm about to show them, not to embarrass them, not to get revenge, but to fulfill what I've spoken over you from the beginning. The time is coming when what I've placed in you will no longer fit into silence. The wisdom I've cultivated, the clarity I've sharpened, the fire I've refined, it's going to begin rising to the surface, and it will be unmistakable, not loud, not arrogant, but undeniable. Your voice will carry authority because it has been purified in fire. Your presence will shift rooms, not because of your personality, but because of my power resting on your obedience. You won't need to introduce yourself anymore. The fruit of your life will speak. The peace you carry will speak. The consistency of your faith will speak. What I've done in you will be visible in a way that no one will be able to ignore. I'm not just raising you up. I'm revealing you. Not a version of you they crafted in their opinion, but the one I designed in my image. And it won't look like what they expected. It won't follow their timeline. It won't ask for permission. It will come with me as your source, me as your defender, me as your banner. And what I begin to unfold now will not require your justification. It will be evident that I have done this. So don't shrink when they notice. Don't apologize when they finally see. Don't feel guilty for being visible after so long in silence. This is not your doing. This is my hand. And those who once overlooked you will begin to see what they missed. Not because you're forcing it, but because I am finishing it. I'm bringing things full circle. Some who misunderstood you will begin to gain clarity. Some who judged your posture will begin to recognize your patience. Some who dismissed your voice will begin to remember your words. Not all will return. Not all are meant to, but what's meant to be restored will be. And what's meant to be released already has been. Now I need you to walk in this with me. Not ahead of me, not behind, but step by step, breath by breath, knowing that heaven has never stopped watching. What I'm doing in your life is not a comeback. It's a reveal. The unveiling of what I've known all along. And soon they'll know it, too. You're not just rising. You're being recognized for what I've always seen. Now, let me talk to you. Not about what's happening around you, but what's been happening inside you. I see how deeply you've tried to hold it all together. I see the places where you've smiled with quiet ache, where you've kept showing up even while your confidence was unraveling in private. You've never needed to convince me of your faithfulness. I've been watching every step. But I also know that even when you remain obedient, there's a place in your soul that still quietly asks, does anyone really see me? Do they know what it costs to keep going? And I want you to hear this from me now clearly and intimately. I see you. I know you. I've always known. And I have never changed my mind about you. You have been surrounded by voices who did not recognize the depth of what you carried. People who misread your silence, who underestimated your process, who thought your delay meant you weren't ready or didn't matter. You've had to sit in rooms where you knew you were called to contribute, but were asked to be quiet. You've watched others be promoted while you remained faithful behind the scenes. And still, you stayed. You didn't manipulate. You didn't push. You didn't chase. You waited. You kept your heart clean. And that posture has made you dangerous to the enemy and precious to me. You didn't become bitter. You didn't let their blindness become your identity. You might have questioned, but you never quit. And that has counted more than you know. Heaven doesn't just reward what's seen. Heaven rewards what's surrendered. And you've surrendered more than anyone could imagine. Your ideas, your dreams, your timing, your name. You laid it all down, not for platform, but for presence. And I've kept record of all of it. Let me tell you what I see when I look at you. I don't see failure. I don't see someone who missed it. I don't see the version of you shaped by comparison, fear, or regret. I see someone whose strength has been forged in silence. I see someone whose heart still beats for me even after disappointment. I see someone who carries purity in a world obsessed with visibility. I see someone who never needed the spotlight to remain faithful to the assignment. And here is what I think of you. You are steady. You are trustworthy. You are sensitive to my spirit in a way few are. You've learned to hear me when others only hear themselves. You carry wisdom that wasn't taught in classrooms. It was learned in valleys. You carry grace not because you've had an easy path, but because you let me soften you instead of harden you. That is why I've preserved you. That is why I've hidden you. That is why I've waited to reveal you. Because what I've placed in you is too sacred to be rushed and too weighty to be built on shallow soil. Now I want to ask you to come back not to service or routine but to intimacy. Come back to the altar not just to ask for clarity but to let me remind you who you are. Come not with your questions but with your heart. Let me reaffirm what the world forgot. Let me speak identity where insecurity tried to grow. Let me settle the arguments inside you. The ones that started when you were ignored, passed over, or misunderstood. You don't need to convince yourself anymore. I'll do the confirming. I'll do the unveiling. I'll do the promotion. You just stay close. I want you to walk like someone who knows they've been seen by heaven. Not with pride, with peace. You don't have to strive anymore. You don't have to prove yourself in every conversation. You don't need to insert yourself to feel secure. I'm securing you now with a deeper revelation. I have always known exactly who you are. And soon others will too. But even when they don't, even if they never say the words, you are still chosen, still called, still marked, still sent. Their recognition will never be the measure of your worth. My love is, my voice is, my presence is. And in that presence, I am restoring everything you lost while waiting to be seen. So come to me, not to ask for visibility, but for clarity. Not to be promoted, but to be present. Let me fill you again. Let me confirm you again. Let me breathe into your spirit until you stop waiting for approval and start walking in assurance. I've always known who you were. I've never doubted it. And I'm ready to show them what I've always seen. You are not rising by chance. You are rising by appointment. Now, let's talk about the pain. Not just the kind others saw, but the kind you learned how to live with. The kind you pushed down so you could keep functioning. The kind that shaped your view of yourself even more than you realized. Because as much as you've moved forward and as much as you've stayed faithful, there are still parts of you that were affected by what they didn't see. And I want to go there with you. Not to reopen wounds, but to heal the ones you stopped expecting me to touch. You've walked through more rejection than you let on. Not always dramatic, not always cruel, but deep and cutting nonetheless. The kind of rejection that wears the face of indifference. The kind that doesn't come with confrontation, but with silence. They didn't fight you. They just didn't notice you. They didn't oppose you. They simply didn't make space for you. And that absence, the absence of recognition, of affirmation, of acknowledgement, began to write a narrative in your heart that said, maybe I don't belong. Maybe what I carry isn't needed. Maybe I should stay quiet. But that narrative was never for me. You didn't deserve to be overlooked. You didn't imagine your calling. You didn't exaggerate your gifting. I placed it in you intentionally, strategically, lovingly. And what hurt the most wasn't that they didn't see your gift. It was that they didn't see you. They saw the parts of you they could use, but they missed the heart behind your words. The process behind your obedience, the weight you carried while still choosing to be kind. I know what that cost. I know what it did to your confidence. And I know that even now there's a part of you that flinches when it starts to hope again. You've said things like, I'm fine. But the truth is, you've been functioning with unhealed places. You've been carrying assignments while carrying the ache of being misunderstood. And while you've remained faithful, that pain has been shaping more of your internal world than you realize. It's made you question how big you're allowed to dream. It's made you second-guess your instincts. It's made you cautious with your passion. And I want to break that off of you. Let me speak this clearly. You are not hard to love. You are not difficult to understand. You are not invisible to me. The way they mishandled your presence does not define your identity. And the pain you carry from not being seen does make you weak. It makes you human. But I don't want you to carry that pain like a badge. I want to turn it into wisdom. I want to heal the space where the wound tried to become your personality. You've learned to protect yourself so well that you've started calling it discernment. But it's really just fear dressed in caution. Let me dismantle that gently and completely, because I need you whole for what's coming next. I need your heart to be clear, not heavy. I need your vision to be restored, not clouded by what was missed before. I need you to walk into new spaces without expecting rejection. I need you to stop rehearsing past dismissal every time you take a new step. That season is over. The wound doesn't get to write the next chapter. I do. And here's what I want you to understand. I didn't allow the pain to destroy you. I allowed it to purify you, to remove pride, to uproot codependence, to refine your motive, to anchor your identity in something that couldn't be taken by man. Every time someone looked past you, I looked deeper. Every time someone walked away, I walked closer. And now I want to heal not just what they did, but how it made you feel about yourself. Because the pain didn't just hurt. It tried to rename you. It tried to label you as less than too much, unnecessary, forgettable. But I never spoke those words over you. And now I want to wash them off of you completely. You are not what they didn't see. You are what I never stopped seeing. You are mine. You are enough. You are chosen. You are wanted. You are called. And nothing they missed cancels anything I said. You've carried this long enough. You've performed enough. You've explained yourself enough. You've adapted yourself to survive in places that didn't have the capacity to hold you. That's over now. I'm setting you free. Not from the people, but from the pain. I'm removing the bitterness you buried, the disappointment you normalized, the insecurity you got used to managing, and I'm replacing it with the deep, undeniable peace of being fully known and fully loved. Let me finish the healing. Let me close the wound. Let me untangle the connection between approval and identity. You're not going back into that cycle. You're not going to live trying to earn a voice. You already have one. And I will not allow what broke you in one season to limit you in the next. You are not who the pain tried to make you. You are who I've always known you were. Let this be the turning point. Let this be the day you stop carrying the weight of being unseen. I saw it all. And I'm about to redeem it all. You'll look back and realize what they didn't see. I used to set you apart. What they missed, I'm using to mark you. What they forgot, I've turned into favor. The pain didn't end you. It positioned you. And now I'm about to show them who you've always been. Now that the pain has been named and the weight of rejection is being lifted, I want to shift your focus. Not to forget what happened, but to understand what's unfolding now. Because while you've been healing, I've also been moving. While you were asking why didn't they see me, I was positioning you to step into what I've always seen. This is not just a season of healing. It is a season of revealing. And what I'm about to reveal is not just what I've placed in your hands, but what I've planted in your life since the beginning. You are entering a moment where the things I whispered in the hidden place are beginning to manifest in the open. Not because you forced them, but because you waited. Not because you campaigned for them, but because you remained faithful. You stayed when walking away would have been easier. You obeyed when no one was watching. And I've been watching. And now heaven is responding. There are promises that I spoke to you long ago in quiet moments, in dreams, in prayer, that you stopped talking about because it became too painful to hope. But I didn't forget. I didn't change my mind. I didn't cancel what I promised just because time passed. My promises aren't fragile. They don't expire under pressure. They don't disintegrate in silence. They grow deep roots. And now they are beginning to rise. You're going to start noticing signs. Not random encouragements, but confirmations that carry my fingerprint. Conversations that feel too precise to be accidental. Scripture that finds you repeatedly. Opportunities that come without manipulation. People who suddenly speak the language of your calling. You'll start hearing things that sound like me because they are me. I'm confirming that the next step isn't guesswork. It's guidance. I will send people to remind you of what I said. People who weren't even there when I said it, but I'll place the right words in their mouths to echo what your heart has nearly forgotten. That's not them guessing. That's me reminding you. And when it happens, don't minimize it. Don't say, that's just encouragement. No, it's alignment. It's evidence that heaven is speaking. There will also be acceleration. You'll begin to see things that once took years happen in weeks. Places that felt closed will start to unlock. Conversations you thought were done will suddenly reopen. Projects that were stalled will find momentum. It won't make sense on paper, but it will make perfect sense in your spirit. That's how I move suddenly, strategically, with precision. And you won't need to force it. You'll only need to recognize it. Be prepared for restoration. Not just of opportunities, but of honor. I'm going to redeem spaces where you were previously mishandled. You won't return to them out of bitterness, but out of assignment. I will send you back, not to prove yourself, but to speak with authority. And they'll recognize it. Not because your voice changed, but because your presence now carries my confirmation. Provision is also part of this season. What you need to move forward will be released. Not just finances, but energy, wisdom, clarity, people, time, and favor. I am releasing what has been held. Not because you earned it, but because the timing has aligned. You won't need to beg. You won't need to strive. You won't need to explain. It will come as a result of your obedience, not your performance. And yes, some things will shift quickly. Some people will exit. Don't panic when that happens. I am clearing space for what I'm bringing. Don't try to hold on to relationships or rhythms that can't carry the next chapter. Not everything that's familiar is meant to continue. Some things serve their season. Let them go with grace. I'm not taking things away from you to hurt you. I'm making room. The next chapter is not just about addition. It's about alignment. Pay attention to the rhythm I set. I will lead you day by day. I will highlight what to pursue and what to pause. I will make it clear when it's time to act and when it's time to wait. This is not about rushing. It's about walking in step with me. And I promise if you stay close, you will not miss what I am doing. The signs are not subtle if your eyes are trained to see them. Keep your spirit tuned. Keep your heart open. I'm not hiding anything from you. I'm revealing it in layers as you're ready to carry it. Let me also say this. You're not behind. The enemy has tried to convince you that you missed your moment, that others have passed you, that the opportunity was given to someone else. But I say to you now, you're exactly where I need you to be. I've redeemed the time. I've recalibrated the path. Nothing was wasted. and nothing I promised will return void. What's about to happen will not just confirm your gift. It will confirm my presence in your life. People will look and see what I saw all along. They'll ask, where did this come from? And you'll know it didn't come suddenly. It came from the years they didn't see. It came from the nights you didn't give up. It came from me. And now I'm showing them. What they didn't see before, they'll see now. I want to teach you how to walk this out. Not with hesitation, not with fear, not with the need to be perfect, but with faith that is alive in practice, not just in principle. You've heard me. You've received what I've said. But now I'm asking you to let those words become your daily posture, not just your private revelation. Because faith that moves mountains isn't only about belief. It's about obedience that keeps moving even when the mountain hasn't. Let's start with your rhythm. You must build your life around me, not around pressure, deadlines, or expectations, but around presence. This is how you stay aligned when the visibility increases. This is how you keep your heart grounded when the doors start opening. I don't want you to carry this next season from adrenaline. I want you to carry it from abiding. Begin your day by choosing me before the world speaks. I'm not asking for hours. I'm asking for priority. Before your phone, before your to-do list, before you process what's next, come to me. Even in quiet, even in stillness, even when you don't feel anything, that consistency is where I meet you. Speak to me like I'm already there because I am. Don't complicate it. Don't try to be poetic. Be honest. Be present. Start the day with God. I want to hear you before anything else today. Invite me into your morning. Ask me to set the pace of your heart. That simple act of surrender becomes the foundation of every decision that follows. And throughout the day, don't forget, I'm walking with you. In the silence between conversations in the car, in the hallway, whisper to me, what do you think? And I'll whisper back. The second part of your rhythm is responding. Faith that stays in your journal isn't faith that transforms your life. You must begin to act on what I've said. When I speak, move. Don't wait for another confirmation. If I've already given you clarity, don't delay out of fear. The moment your spirit knows what to do, obedience becomes the bridge to your next step. Write the proposal. Send the message. Start the study. Walk into the meeting. Trust that I'm not asking you to finish it. I'm asking you to start it. And I will walk with you every step of the way. When fear rises, and it will, don't fight it by trying to be strong. Fight it by remembering what I said. Speak my word out loud. Declare the promises I gave you in private. Remind your soul, I'm not building this alone. God is with me. I am seen. I am called. I don't need their approval to move forward. I already have His fear will retreat when your words align with mine. Let your mouth shape your mindset. Let truth interrupt anxiety. Pay attention to your environment. This is critical. You cannot walk into a season of clarity while surrounding yourself with confusion. You don't need endless opinions. You don't need to justify your steps to people who weren't in the room when I spoke. Guard your peace. Simplify your inputs. Be intentional with your yes. Be wise with your number. You're not being selfish. You're being aligned. What you say yes to in this season will either multiply your focus or steal it. Choose well. Open my word daily. Not out of duty, but out of dependence. Don't just read for inspiration. Read to be formed. Let Scripture realign your thoughts. Let it challenge your assumptions. Let it soften your reactions. Let it speak louder than your feelings. If you don't know where to begin, start in the Gospels. Watch how Jesus walked. Watch how he spoke. Watch how he remained confident in calling even when misunderstood. That's the blueprint. Stay with it until it becomes your default response. Declare my truth often, even when it feels awkward. Especially when you feel tired, you're speaking not to impress me, but to remind yourself. Let truth flow from your mouth until your spirit begins to rise again. You're not just surviving. You're establishing something. Every time you speak my word over your life, you are building spiritual infrastructure for what I've promised. Keep speaking, keep declaring, keep aligning your voice with mine. Rest when I tell you I didn't create you to run non-stop. Rest is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is how I remind you that the outcome is in my hands, not yours. It is how you build longevity. Pause on purpose. Breathe. Protect your Sabbath. Walk away from the noise when needed. Say no to what drains you, even if it's good. Not everything good is yours to carry. Let me guide your rhythm. Let me teach you how to walk full, not frantic. And above all, stay close, stay aware, stay responsive. I will continue speaking. I will guide you step by step. I will give you strategies that don't come from books, but from the secret place, the same place I've always met you. The same place they couldn't see, but I did. You don't need to overthink it. You just need to walk with me. Now that you're learning to walk in faith and act on what I've spoken, I want to pause here, not to give you more to do, but to remind you who you are. Because even as you begin to take new steps and build in obedience, I know there are still parts of you that need to be encouraged, not because you're weak, but because you've carried this calling through hard seasons, and the weight of being misunderstood still lingers in certain corners of your heart. You've been faithful, yes, but I also know the quiet insecurity that sometimes surfaces when no one's watching. That small voice that still wonders, am I really enough for this? I want to answer that now, not with vague affirmation, but with truth. You are more than enough. Not because of what you can do, but because of who I made you to be. I knew exactly what I was doing when I formed your personality, your wiring, your gifting. I knew how people would react. I knew some wouldn't understand you. I knew there would be moments of friction, of disappointment, of isolation. And still, I chose you. Still, I called you. Still, I anointed you. I didn't choose you for the version of you that would emerge after perfection. I chose you for who you already are. Even with your questions, even in your process, even in your becoming, the world may have tried to rename you. Pain may have tried to rewire your reflection. But let me say this with finality. You are not who rejection tried to tell you you were. You are not who their silence suggested. You're not the sum of the doors that didn't open. You're not the result of who left. You're not a backup plan. You're not barely making it. You're not a second choice. You're mine. And when I say you are mine, I don't mean it poetically. I mean it with ownership. I crafted your spirit. I knit you together with vision and intention. You don't just have a role in my kingdom. You carry my DNA. My spirit lives in you. My fingerprints are on your design. There's nothing about you that is accidental. Nothing about your story that is wasted. You carry heaven's mark on your life. And that matters more than who tried to overlook you. Let me say this too. You are safe to be seen. You don't need to keep shrinking to protect yourself. You don't need to keep editing your voice to make others comfortable. I'm restoring your boldness. But not the kind that grows out of proving a point. The kind that grows from being healed. The kind that speaks because it's rooted, not reactive. The kind that stands firm without apology. The kind that no longer needs permission to exist. You've spent years managing how others perceive you. Trying to balance being gracious with being real. Trying to navigate being faithful while not being too loud. And I honor your process. But I'm calling you now to live unfiltered. Not to be careless, but to be free. To trust that what I've shaped in you is holy. Not because it pleases people, but because it reflects me. Let me speak into your reflection now. You are strong. You are steady. You are full of truth and tenderness. You carry wisdom that doesn't come from books. It comes from me. You have clarity that can cut through confusion. And a heart that heals before it even speaks. You have walked through rejection, and instead of becoming bitter, you became deep. That is not failure. That is formation. You're the type of person I trust with influence because you don't chase it. You're the kind I trust with doors because you know not to worship them. You're the one I raise up slowly because I'm building something that won't collapse under weight. I don't want a moment for you. I want a lifetime of movement. I want you to build from identity, not insecurity. From rest, not performance. From revelation, not reaction. So, here is what I'm saying now. Be the fullness of who I made you to be. Don't shrink. Don't doubt. Don't stall because you're waiting for someone else to see what I've always seen. You don't need another confirmation. You are the confirmation. You are the evidence that I choose people no one expects. That I raise up those who refuse to bow to approval. That I bless the ones who stayed faithful when no one clapped. You're walking in the kind of strength that isn't loud but immovable. You're stepping into a new grace that doesn't demand space. It naturally occupies it. And people will notice. They will feel the shift. They won't be able to explain it, but they'll sense it. That's what happens when someone walks not in ambition but in authenticity. You are not seeking attention. You are releasing truth. And truth, when lived fully, draws everything it needs. I'm restoring the version of you that knows how to breathe deeply again. The one that stopped apologizing for carrying weight. The one that no longer takes up less space to be more accepted. The one that knows heaven sees even when earth doesn't. Let this be your posture now. I am not who they didn't see. I am who God has always known. And I'm walking into every room with that truth in my bones. Now that your identity is being restored and you've stopped carrying the false responsibility of being seen by others, I want to teach you how to sustain this clarity. Because even though you've crossed a spiritual threshold, even though healing is unfolding, this season requires intentional rhythms to keep you rooted, stable, and sharp. The favor that is forming around you must be met with structure within you. And structure isn't legalism. It's spiritual strategy. It's how you walk in sustained fire without burning out. It's how you carry authority without becoming arrogant. It's how you stay close to me even when visibility increases. Let's start with prayer. Real daily grounding prayer. Not performance, not a list of needs, but presence, connection, awareness. I want to become your first conversation each day before the noise of opinions, pressure, or expectation reaches you. I want to speak identity, peace, and focus over your mind. You don't need perfect words. You don't need a quiet room. You just need a willing heart. A heart that says, God, here I am again. I don't have all the answers, but I want to hear from you. When you give me that space, even 10 minutes, I will fill it with more clarity than hours of your striving ever could. And I don't want you to leave me in the morning. I want you to carry me throughout your day. Whisper to me in the ordinary. Pause to ask me what I see when confusion comes. Talk to me in your thoughts before you react. This is what it means to walk by the Spirit. I am not just a sacred part of your schedule. I am the source of your strength. I don't visit your life. I dwell in it. Let me lead you moment by moment. Let's talk about your attitude now. Not how you act in public, but how you carry yourself internally. You're no longer trying to prove something. So, stop letting old fear dictate your mood. Stop letting insecurity narrate your value. The conversations you have in your mind when no one's watching are forming your posture. Begin to interrupt every lie with truth. Start noticing when your internal tone sounds like shame or comparison and pause. Ask yourself, is this the voice of God or the voice of pressure? My voice leads with conviction, not condemnation, correction, not criticism, peace, not panic. Choose gratitude first every single day. It will change the atmosphere of your inner world. Not everything will feel good, but you can still say, God, thank you for breath. For the people still walking with me, for the strength to keep showing up. Gratitude isn't denial. It's alignment. It sets your eyes on me when life tries to pull your gaze toward fear. I also want to talk about your language. Not just how you talk to others, but how you talk about yourself. Begin to speak my truth over your own life daily. Declare it out loud if you have to. You don't need to wait for a platform to speak like someone who carries my spirit. You are called. You are covered. You are equipped. Begin your mornings with declarations that sound like heaven. I walk in peace today. I carry the wisdom of God. I'm not chasing approval. I'm following the voice that already chose me. Let these declarations become your soundtrack, especially when the doubts rise again. Now, let's return to my word. Not because it's what you should do, but because it's what your soul is starving for. You need more than motivation. You need truth that lives and breathes. Open the word expecting me to speak. You don't have to read it all at once. Start where your spirit is hungry. Psalms when your heart needs language. The Gospels when you want to remember how Jesus carried himself in tension. Proverbs when decisions press in. Let my words shape your instincts again. Write it down. The verse that stops you. The moment that convicts you. The whisper you feel when a phrase leaps off the page. That's not random. That's revelation. That's me drawing you deeper. Keep a journal not just of what you read, but what you hear. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns, confirmation, repetition, clarity. That's how I lead you. Not with a map, but with momentum. Be intentional about your atmosphere. I'm bringing you into alignment. That means you'll have to protect your peace more fiercely now. You can't allow constant access to everyone. You can't feed your mind on endless opinions and expect to hear my voice clearly. Choose your intake wisely. What you watch, what you listen to, what you scroll past. These aren't neutral. They're forming something. You're not being dramatic when you say no to noise. You're being discerning. Build your week around stillness. Not just rest from work, but return to me. Protect your Sabbath. Make space to breathe. Step away from the noise. Let your soul recalibrate. Let me remind you, you're not leading alone. You're not building alone. You're not carrying it all on your shoulders. I am here. And I don't just want your labor. I want your company. You are not entering a season that demands more of you. You are entering a season that requires more of me and you. And I will be faithful to fill what you surrender. Now, lean in, because what I'm about to speak over your life is not a repetition of what you've already heard. It is a prophetic moment. It is the breath of heaven confirming what your spirit has been sensing, but your circumstances have not yet reflected. This is the moment where what I've been forming in secret begins to shift into visibility, not in pieces, in movement. And I say this now clearly and without delay. Your season has changed. What you carried through the shadows, what you questioned in silence, what you kept stewarding even when no one acknowledged it, it's about to rise. Not because you fought your way into a room, but because I'm calling you forward. This next chapter isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about fulfilling everything I spoke long before they ever knew your name. There is an unveiling coming. The gifts I planted, the wisdom I nurtured, the authority I shaped, the anointing I deepened through fire. These are not dormant anymore. They are active. They are ready. And now I'm releasing them with clarity and purpose. You will feel it. Your voice will carry a new weight. Your prayers will begin to stir things that once remained untouched. Your presence will be met with attention, not because of who you are alone, but because of what I've placed on you. The room will recognize the oil, even if it doesn't know your name. Don't be surprised when opportunities come quickly. Don't second guess when doors open without explanation. I'm not blessing you randomly. I'm fulfilling time promises. Promises I preserved while you waited. Promises that required a refined heart and a renewed identity. You're not stepping into this season as the same person who dreamed about it years ago. You are stronger, quieter in ego, louder in spirit, softer in pride, sharper in discernment. You are ready. And I will confirm it not just with invitations, but with peace, with provision, with divine timing. You'll be walking in places that once felt out of reach. You'll speak with a depth you didn't train for. You'll carry a confidence that isn't loud, but unshakable. This is what happens when someone is released, not by the world's timeline, but by heaven's agenda. There will be changes. Yes. Some people won't understand who you are becoming. Some won't know how to process your growth. Don't try to shrink back for their comfort. Love them. Bless them. But move forward. There are places I'm sending you that require the version of you I've been forming, not the one they remember. You don't need to apologize for evolving. You don't need to explain your strength. This isn't arrogance. It's alignment. You'll notice that what once drained you no longer fits. That's not rebellion. That's revelation. I'm adjusting your relationships. I'm reassigning your responsibilities. I'm even shifting your language. What used to satisfy no longer will. Not because it's bad, but because you've outgrown it. And I'm doing that on purpose because I don't want you repeating cycles in new seasons. I want you walking in freedom, in flow, in clarity. Expect acceleration. Yes, acceleration without anxiety. You won't need to force this. You'll find yourself in rooms you didn't ask to be in. You'll be handed opportunities you didn't have to network for. You'll sit at tables where you'll wonder, how did I get here? But your spirit will know. God brought me here not by accident, but by appointment. I'm also releasing fresh vision. You thought the dream was too old. You thought too much time had passed. But I say to you now, it's still alive. I'm breathing new strategy. I'm giving new language. I'm sending resources. I'm aligning people. I'm clearing your schedule. I'm preparing the soil. And the dream is not just coming back. It's being reborn. And this time it's not from ambition. It's from encounter. You'll feel it begin to stir again gently, then with weight. You'll see the blueprints take shape. Don't rush the process. Move as I move. I'm not asking for speed. I'm asking for sensitivity. When I say go, go. When I say pause, pause. You don't have to build this alone. I'm not just giving you vision. I'm walking with you in the execution. Let me say this again. You're not behind. Every step you've taken, even the ones that felt like detours, has been woven into divine design. And now I'm redeeming the time, not by going backward, but by moving forward with power. You will see years of faithfulness begin to produce fruit all at once. Harvest that looks sudden to others will be evidence of seeds you've been planting for years. I've seen everyone. And they'll ask, where did this come from? Then you'll answer, it was always there. God just chose to show it now. And I will say, yes, I did. Because I always knew who you were, even when they didn't. Now step forward, not to prove anything, but to fulfill everything. What they missed, I'm magnified. And now I'm about to show them. Now that the unveiling has begun and the shift is no longer just internal but visible, I need to bring you back to the foundation. My presence, my spirit, your heart. Because while I've called you forward and have begun to release the fruit of your hidden seasons, what will sustain you through the doors I open is not strategy, not stamina, not human strength. It's communion. It's oneness with me. You will need more than wisdom in this next chapter. You will need awareness. Awareness of my spirit. Awareness of my movements. Awareness of the subtle ways I guide, protect, and shift you from within. That kind of awareness doesn't come through more doing. It comes through deep surrender. A posture of abiding. A quiet boldness that comes from spending time with me. Not just to be filled, but to be formed. Let me remind you, my spirit is not an accessory to your life. He is the center of it. Not a tool to help you do ministry, not a power to make you feel strong. He is my presence living in you, moving through you, shaping your inner world so that what I build through you has integrity, purity, and longevity. You've experienced His comfort before. In the moments where grief almost swallowed you whole, you've sensed His whispers when your heart was on the edge of despair. But now I'm calling you into a lifestyle of spirit-led living. Not visits, not moments, a dwelling, a walking rhythm, a new way of being where you don't just carry truth, you become it. Where you don't just seek peace, you release it. Where you don't just follow calling, you embody communion. You don't need to try harder to be spiritual. You need to be more available. Let me in deeper into the corners of your heart you've protected. Into the thoughts you've managed on your own, into the reactions you've learned to justify. My spirit doesn't condemn, He transforms. He doesn't just correct behavior. He heals the belief behind it. The lies that got planted in your youth. The wounds that still echo when certain words are spoken. The triggers that rise when old patterns show up again. I'm not afraid of them. I want to walk through them with you. You're not supposed to carry the weight of breakthrough alone. I didn't deliver you to leave you drained. I didn't send you to the front lines without armor. The greatest power you carry is not your talent. It's your connection to me. That's what will guard you when criticism returns. That's what will protect you when success tries to shift your identity. That's what will humble you when favor increases. My spirit is your anchor. You'll begin to sense me more clearly now. Not because I'm suddenly closer, but because your heart is finally still enough to notice. In the quiet, I will speak. In the noise, I will steady. In the conflict, I will guide. And I will give you discernment that goes beyond logic. Discernment that lets you see beneath the surface. That tells you when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to rest. I will lead you with peace, not pressure. And that peace, it will be your weapon. Because as things accelerate, the enemy will still try to see our chaos. He'll try to make you doubt again. He'll whisper that you're unworthy, that you're still too broken, that the attention is too much, that the silence is a setup. But you'll recognize it now because my spirit will be louder. And you'll say, no, I've heard the voice of my Father. I've been in the secret place. I know who I am. I know whose I am, and I won't shrink again. Transformation will happen in places you didn't expect. You'll pause before you speak, not because you're afraid, but because you've learned how to listen. You'll show up with authority, not to dominate, but to serve. You'll lead with compassion, not to be liked, but because you felt what it's like to be unseen and still chosen. These aren't personality changes. This is what it looks like to walk with me. You'll dream differently, not just of stages or platforms or rooms, but of impact, of healing, of nations, of generations. Your vision will stretch, not because you're ambitious, but because you've been with me. You'll start sensing who to pray for, who to check on, what to build next, even before the request is made. That's not pressure. That's spirit awareness. And I will teach you how to carry it with grace. The more you give me space, the more I'll reveal what's possible. And you'll no longer measure fruit by numbers. You'll measure it by peace, by obedience, by intimacy. That's the kind of life that endures. That's the kind of life that shakes hell quietly. That's the kind of life you were born for. So return to me again and again, not for answers, for presence. Let my spirit be your counselor, your confidence, your filter, your rest. Let him be the one who reminds you who you are when your emotions waver. You don't need to perform. You need to be with me. This is the life you were always meant to live. Not chasing recognition, but releasing my presence. Now the world will see what I've always known. Not because you shouted louder, but because you chose to walk with me. Now rest in what I've spoken over you. Let it take root, not just in your thoughts, but in your spirit. Let it go deeper than emotions. Let it reach the part of you that stopped hoping. The part that still wonders if you're really seen, really chosen, really enough. Because I am not speaking these words to inspire you. I am speaking them to restore you. You don't need another moment of hype. You need to know that your life is still moving according to my design. Even the slow seasons, even the hidden years, even the doors that never opened, even the relationships that walked away, even the silence that felt like abandonment. None of it disqualified you. It prepared you. I didn't forget who you were when others didn't see you. I didn't stop building when the process got quiet. I didn't change my mind when others walked away. I've been here every step, every breath, every whisper. And now you are walking into a season where I am about to confirm publicly what I always knew privately. You are mine. You are called. You carry my heart. And nothing, no rejection, no delay, no dismissal can stop what I've spoken over your life. You don't have to explain what I'm doing. You don't have to defend the fruit that's forming. Just walk with me. Keep your heart soft. Keep your hands open. Keep your spirit tuned to my voice. I will give you what you need. I will align who you need. I will protect what you carry. You don't have to fight to be seen. You already are. You don't have to wait for them to understand. I've always understood. So walk forward. Not with apology, not with fear. Walk like someone who has been validated by heaven. Speak when I give you the words. Build what I've put in your spirit. Move with clarity, not hesitation. You're not an imposter. You're not performing. You are walking in an unfolding that I authored. I'm about to show them what they missed. But more importantly, I'm about to show you what I never stopped seeing. Amen. If this word pierced something deeper than emotion, if you felt me confirming what you've carried for years in silence, don't walk away quietly. Let me see your response. Let this moment be marked. Leave a comment that says, I heard you. I'm ready. I agree. You're not responding to a message. You're answering me. I've seen every hidden yes, every silent seed. Every moment you stayed faithful without applause. Now, let your voice speak again. Say it out loud. Write it down. This isn't for attention. It's for alignment. I'm watching and I always have been.